I'm breathing underwater, I'm weightless through space. I'm soaring like an eagle all over this place. Creatures most will never see are waiting there to look at me, and all I gotta do is breathe underwater. We begin in 1945, where an American ship is dropping depth charges at U-boats. They don't know there's some kind of Nazi facility on the bottom.
The naval battle goes against us. The Allied destroyers are closing in on our U-boats.
Yes, obviously, freilich.
Bada! Secret weapons. We can destroy the Allied fleet and save our U-boats from destruction.
You know your orders. Those weapons are to destroy all Allied capitals. They're not to be wasted on a few insignificant ships.
And that's well and good, but if those depth charges destroy the whole place before you get a chance to use those weapons, then they aren't much good, are they? Whatever that gas is that took care of any plans they had, the Allies never even knew this place was there. So fade out from 1945 and fade into 1980, where the Seaview has discovered a seaweed-covered mound that is much more than it appears to be.
It's coming from that mound.
Just then they hit a mine. Some systems are out and repairs will take several hours. With that in mind, Captain Crane and Kowalski will go find out who's making that heartbeat.
Those things haven't been around since World War II, sir.
He hasn't been here that long. As a matter of fact,
Gentlemen, will you raise your hands, please? Come. You are prisoners of the Third Reich. Heil Hitler.
I wonder how hard it was for him to say that. John Van Dralen spent some time on the wrong side of a concentration camp fence in Holland during the war. He escaped by stealing a German uniform and walking out the gate. Already I like him. We saw him in Season 1, Episode 17, The Last Battle, also playing a Nazi who didn't know the war was over. Typecasting or Irwin having a little fun with him? We'll never know.
Well, I'm waiting for an answer. How did you get in here? Where do you come from? Just who are you?
I was wondering the same thing about you. Why the costume? Where'd you get that phony swastika? That one out of style over 30 years ago.
I wouldn't advise that.
Look at him, Captain. Notice anything odd about him? Like, he's not much older than you, but he appears to be a sincere Nazi who doesn't know the war is over. There's something weird going on here. Tell him what year it is.
Come on. The information.
Until I know who you are, I'm telling you nothing. Now, right now, I'd say...
It's the gas taking over again. I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
So he realizes his own gas knocked him and his aide out. He doesn't realize it was crazy effective. While a team loads those two into the diving bell and takes them to sickbay, Captain Crane and Chief Sharkey gather a bunch of the gas canisters to analyze later.
So you are an American admiral. Is that right?
That's right.
That's very interesting. I must be on some sort of a vessel. This is naval sickbay, isn't it?
Correct. Now, don't you think it's about time that you identified yourself?
Admiral Baron Gustav von Neuberger.
Nelson introduces himself and the captain. Von Neuberger is surprised he hasn't heard of Nelson. He won't give up any more information until he can consult with his aide, who is still out. They're talking right past each other. Nelson can see this guy really thinks he's still working for Uncle Adolf, so he has no idea what's transpired. It wouldn't be leaking national secrets to at least tell him what year it is.
All right, this is Nelson. Go ahead.
In response to your request concerning Admiral Gustav von Neuberger, we have the following information. During World War II, he was Germany's chief naval research scientist.
Well, how old was he at that time?
49.
Is he still alive?
Don't know, sir. Hasn't been heard from since 44. If he were alive now, though, he'd be well up in his 80s.
All right, thanks for the report. Over and out.
He's well preserved for a guy his age, and nobody's realized yet that he doesn't know he's a guy his age.
You don't really think this von Neuberger's the same man, do you?
Anything's possible, Lee.
But he's not more than 49 now.
I know. Missile room, prepare the diving bell for return descent to that weapons lab.
Aye, aye, sir.
I want to find out if there might be any other secret weapons there aside from the gas you brought aboard.
I'd still like to know how this could be the same von Neuberger 35 years later and not have aged one day.
Well, it might be possible if he were in a state of suspended animation.
I did some reading up on suspended animation. Within limits, it can slow the aging process. Hibernation is a good example. The biological processes slow way down, and so does cell deterioration. Could it do this over 35 years? We don't know. Nobody's tried it.
SSRN Seaview. So this is the vessel we are aboard.
That's right.
Nein, my lieber Doctor, that is not right. No submarine such as this could possibly exist. Oh, yes. In imagination, perhaps, or some designer's dream. But in reality, no.
Well, that's very interesting, inasmuch as you're aboard her right now.
I do not know where I am. I only know that I and my aide are being held here as prisoners of war against our will.
First, the only person using the word prisoner is you. Second, aren't prisoners of war usually held against their will? Last I heard, that's how it works.
How do you expect me to cooperate with you when you lie to me? Not even the most advanced of the Führer's U-boats can boast of anything like this.
They said you disappeared in 1944. By then, Dönitz was losing U-boats way faster than Hitler could build them, so you expect that situation to produce the most advanced machines. Even supposing it was still 1945, you're dreaming, Baron.
The control system, the missile firing apparatus. Well, I presume you lied to me for some purpose of your own.
Now look, von Neuberger, either you're deliberately lying yourself or you actually believe you're lying.
The doc was just starting to get it when the lights went out. They subdued the two guards outside the door, and even though he swears it couldn't be real, he takes the diagram of the Seaview with him. Nelson and Sharkey are in the undersea lab trying to figure out what it's all about.
Hey, Chief, saw a crowbar there. Bring it over to me, will you?
Aye, sir.
Yes, it was booby-trapped, and congratulations, you are now two boobies. The crew knows our two Nazis have escaped and are armed, but they don't know what their intentions are. Von Neuberger has decided that High Command will want the boat intact so they can study it. That means taking it over, not destroying it. I want to hear him explain what it runs on, because a naval officer in Germany in 1945 has never heard of atomic anything. They attack and subdue the three men in the missile room. Von Neuberger gets into scuba gear, which a 1945 Nazi wouldn't have recognized, and heads down to the lab while Frolic looks for a way to disable the boat.
What happened? What happened? We were booby-trapped, that's what happened. Some kind of a knockout gas. Must be something pretty important behind that wall. A little ticket like this.
There is indeed, gentlemen.
In fact, he'll show it to you right now.
There they are. These are the weapons, loaded with a new kind of explosive, more powerful than ever before. They are aimed at Paris, London, Moscow, and Washington.
The four capitals that were aligned against the Nazis during the war. Nelson just figured it out, and it only took him 2/3 of the episode. Usually he takes a little longer than that.
All right, you're taken as prisoner, Baron. Now, how will you date that entry in your log?
April 1, 1945.
A little more than a month before the war ended. If he was still in contact with high command, he knew what was happening. He knew about the invasion of Europe, the Soviets reaching Berlin, and all the rest. So he has to know the war was going badly for his side. He also has to know that if he does this, things will go even badlier for his side because that's mass murder. Still, he has his orders. He's already started the process, and he says it can't be stopped.
April 1st, 1945. You know, people can sometimes lose a day or two, but 35 years.
April, I don't think your chief petty officer realizes the seriousness of the situation. I will have no more of his stupid jokes.
Well, he's not joking, Baron. This happens to be October 3rd. The year is 1980. And the war you're talking about finished 35 years ago.
You insult my intelligence, Admiral.
Have him turn on a radio and listen to some hair metal, Admiral. If nothing else, it'll confuse him enough that you can overpower him. And yes, I said that as though anybody in 1967 had a clue that hair metal would ever exist.
Try that door. What'd you get you, Skipper?
I just nicked my side. I'm all right.
But did the captain hit him? He flinched like it, but the question will never come up, so who knows?
This is Oberleutnant Freilich. Auf der Führer's Erster Mecklenburger Schutzstaffel. I'm addressing myself to the commanding officer of this vessel. Will you please get on the communication system to speak to me?
This is Commander Morton.
Ah, you are the commanding officer?
I'm senior in command at this moment, yes. What do you want, Freilich?
A very simple thing, Commander. Unless I receive unconditional surrender of this vessel and all aboard her, I shall blow this submarine apart.
He gives them 10 minutes. Cool. That's just enough time to get some thermite set on the door. Kowalski is taking care of that now.
Those cylinders contain a special kind of nerve gas we've developed, killing everything within a 100-mile radius. They're going to be launched together with the explosives.
Sharky's tired of lugging those things. He's ready to ignore the gun and take a crack at von Neuberger anyway.
I want those cylinders to be placed in the missiles before they fire. You will do as I tell you.
You'd better do as he says, Chief. An infield hit can get a run across, but a strikeout doesn't help anybody. I guess you're right, sir.
Von Neuberger wants to know what all this gibberish is. He doesn't know baseball. He's not qualified to be in charge of anything.
Well, that's just an American colloquialism, like stitch in time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Here's another American colloquialism for you. Lights out.
They sure built themselves a pretty good hunk of intercontinental ballistic missile. Yeah, I knew they were working on them, but didn't know they'd gotten this far. Well, let's see what we can do about pulling their teeth.
Aye, sir.
No, I meant his lights, not yours. Nelson is spending about 20% of this episode asleep.
You gonna blow the door in Russian?
It's either that or unconditional surrender.
What about the gas through the ventilating ducts?
Revitalization monitor shows he's closed off the ducts. He beat us to it on that count.
Besides, you wouldn't want Kowalski to go to all that work and not get the payoff, would you?
All right, get ready.
Your time is up. I am making the decision for you.
They'll be able to fix the damage and the men will recover. Frolic is a question mark. It'd be nice to think the only thing he blew up beyond repair was himself.
Zu unserem Führer! Sieg Heil!
The missiles! It's too late. Your missiles didn't go, they backfired. The missiles didn't fire.
Nobody will explain why to him or us, but their fuel has been sitting there losing its potency for 35 years. They didn't fire because there's no fire left in them. That would have been the perfect opportunity to get it through to him.
No, and this installation is filling with water. And we gotta get out. Get out? Why?
Because there's no reason why they should stay here and go down with your ship for your cause that was lost decades ago.
There's a new life, a new world waiting outside. Let's get back to the Seaview. Forget all this.
Seaview? Get back to the Seaview? Ja. Natürlich. You're right. There's still hope.
Admiral Nelson is as thick as ever because he is not listening to the way von Neuberger said that. Nelson thinks he means hope for life. He forgets the kind of mind he's dealing with. It's hard to believe he's that weak-brained. Is he or isn't he? Only his writer knows for sure. Foul on the play. How did he get there?
What about the gas through the ventilating ducts?
Revitalization monitor shows he's closed off the ducts. He beat us to it on that count.
That means he managed to open them before he started breaking stuff, or else the vents that close them are made of rice paper. I did notice that he's not using his left arm, so it looks like Captain Crane did hit him. Or else he bet von Neuberger that he could do this with one hand tied behind his back. He jams the wheel on the hatch just as the other three are entering the escape hatch.
I have to admit it, sir. It's good to be back home again.
Why did they bring a bottle of that nerve gas? Nelson probably thinks he's going to analyze it, but I'd bet it was von Neuberger's idea. He saw what this guy's willing to do. He heard him give up when he believed his cause was gone. He thinks that guy is going to flip just like this.
I'd agree with you, Chief, except I didn't expect this particular welcoming committee.
Ich gratuliere völlig.
By the way, you just brought him the means to take over the boat and kill everyone aboard so he can complete his mission. It may be time to retire, Admiral. He'll go over it with you one more time.
I have only one goal. To destroy all Allied cities. I can accomplish this. Here and now. Take your diving suits off. There's work to do. Come on.
What do you have in mind?
Oh, my aching butt. You can't figure it out? Look where you're standing.
All great concepts are basically simple. I will use the Seaview missiles to blow up your cities.
I wish he would add a duh. When Nelson is this far off his game, he should just stay in bed. Froelich is about to release the nerve gas.
Will you wait?
Yes, Admiral?
You're going to kill us too. The gas will recirculate and come back in here. Now, we've got to shut off these vents if there's any chance of us staying alive when the...
That had to be Sharky's idea. No way Nelson thought of it. And they're a lot more susceptible to that gas since it's already zoinked the bejabbers out of them before to the tune of 35 years. Even so, Froelich overpowers the chief, and guess what? Admiral Nelson is unconscious again.
Must fire the missiles.
No keys, no codes, no fail-safes, no way, because everything we've established about this missile system says he can't do that. Nobody can, because it requires 4 senior officers just to open the panel. I haven't seen anything in the manual that says 4 senior officers or 1 Nazi. Anybody who's ever been through any kind of gas mask training, whether military, fire and rescue, YouTube, anybody, tell me what he did wrong there. If you've never done something like that, don't despair, you can play too. It's the same thing they tell you on a plane. He gets on the horn to the control room so they can launch interceptors and blow the missile out of the sky. Then he loses consciousness for the 213th time.
He's alive. Get him to sickbay on the double. And the chief too. Move him on. Come on.
He's alive. In fact, he was doing pretty good until that hatch wheel blew across the room and took out his kidneys. And why did that happen? Did his suspended animation get suspended for non-payment? Whether he's alive or not has no effect on the aging process as it was presented here. That's yet another thing that couldn't happen within the world we established. This episode is one big continuity error. Admiral Nelson is a dimwit. This guy won't believe them, and nobody thinks to turn on a radio and let him hear the world. Better yet, sandbag him and turn on the sub's TV to something from Germany. In other words, prove it to him, don't just stand there and talk. This was not a good episode. The most amazing part is, we've done the Nazi thing before with the same guy. Well, you know how it is. Some people just don't get the message the first time.
All I gotta do is breathe underwater. Breathe underwater. Breathe underwater.
And he's saying, just then they hit a mine. We saw him faster than Hitler could.